Hi everyone, it's William with the 1907 diary entry, and today, here and now, it's the 19th September 2024, and we have 21 degrees, so we're about on a par with what it was in the Crimea on 13th September 1907. And it's also a Thursday here today, and it's a Thursday back in time in Dimitri's at the moment when he was writing in his diary. So that's kind of cool to think about. So we're starting a new diary entry today, and it's not a terribly long one. It's long, but it's not so long that I think I need to do it in more than one part, so there's not a lot to unpack. So I think we can get through it in one part. So let's dive in. I'll begin my filthy rubbish by describing how I spent my time today. We had coffee at 8 o'clock, then I studied for 2 hours. At 11 o'clock we went swimming. We swam in the pool, not in the sea, because the latter is very cold. We had a great time in the pool. We tried to drown each other, swam, splashed, and tried in every way to pull each other to the bottom. Lunch was at 12 o'clock, as always, and then I occupied myself until 3:30 when Aunt Minnie came for us. The outing with Aunt Minnie made me worry that GM would be in a bad mood later, because we had tea with Uncle Sandro, Ksenia, Uncle Georgi, and Uncle Sandro's suite. And that was a slap in the face to Miss June and GM that the suite was included and they weren't. I understand how they could have been upset when we went to Yalta, but this time it would just have been stupid. But fortunately that didn't happen. GM is in a good mood. We had tea today at Ai Todor near the lighthouse where excavations are being done. Yesterday they started digging there, and guess what? They found a perfectly preserved wall that had been part of the basement of a house. The wall is so ideally preserved that it's hard to believe it was built 6 centuries ago. After tea, when we went home, I tried to kill something, but without success. Today was the first time in 2 weeks that the night was warm. If you think about it, it's so strange that in Moscow, Totya writes, there was a little frost during the night, and here it's 15 to 20 degrees, and everyone grumbles that it's so cold, and they say it's unbearable, etc. Tomorrow we're going to church for the big holiday, 9 o'clock p.m., and allow me just to say that I don't know what the big holiday is. Even though I am Orthodox, I don't know. I should. I'm sure I'll be ashamed when I figure it out, unless it's some particular Russian saint or something like that. All right, filthy rubbish. Well, maybe I misunderstood in the previous diary entry when he referred to rereading his diaries and finding so much filthy rubbish. What is he using that to mean? I, of course, leapt to the conclusion that it meant, maybe he was writing down some of his fantasies in his journals or something like that. But now he's using the same term just to talk about this particular diary entry, which really is not at all in any way shocking. Okay, so unless you take him literally that they were trying to drown each other, which obviously wasn't the case, I have to say I would have found that extremely annoying even if I was 16 years old, if I was trying to enjoy myself in a pool and other people were trying to pull me down to the bottom. But I guess that could be a fun game if you were into it. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know if Maria was engaged in that or if it was mainly just Dmitri and little Borya or something like that, but who knows. So we have another instance, and an even clearer one, of Dmitri being very attentive to Laming's mood and it sort of casting a pall over things when he goes and does something that he thinks is going to possibly put Laming in a bad mood. And back when we were doing the 1906 diary entries and when he was 14 years old, it seemed like Georgy Mikhailovich was good with being left out of family activities, that it was Miss June, Junkovskaya, who was unhappy whenever there was something that she was left out of. But it sounds like in general, Laming had been kind of moody since they'd arrived in the Crimea, and maybe because of his squabble with Aunt Minnie, with Grand Duchess Maria Georgievna, over who was going to sort of be in charge of the children. But yeah, Dmitri is always very attentive to other people's mood, and as we go on, we'll see more of that with him, with GM, and it makes me think also of an incident that I've mentioned before in the Fabritsky memoirs, the memoirs of Admiral Fabritsky, about one of the yacht excursions that the family made, their annual yacht excursions, and how one of Alexandra's servants insisted on having a very nice stateroom that was there for guests and members of the family and not for servants. And Fabritsky said absolutely not. He was the captain of the ship, and he said no. But then Alex came to him and said, please do this. I know it's wrong of me to ask, but if you don't, this servant is going to sulk the entire trip and be upset, and it's just going to make me miserable. And so, since the Empress had made that special request, then of course Fabritsky did that for her. And so it seems like, you can't, to the extent that I would have guessed, said that, the family were up here and the servants were down here, and if the servants were in a bad mood or whatever, they just had to carry on and not let it show. At least when you have someone like Laming, who really is the parent in this situation, that the mood is important of this person, and Dmitri was particularly sensitive to it. And it's unfortunate, sorry about this, it's unfortunate that it seems not just with Miss June, but also with Georgy Mikhailovich, that, they were somewhat moody. And that was problematic sometimes for the children, at least for Dmitri. I shouldn't call him a child anymore, should I? So they're here, and the rest of the family is nearby. Well, not Nicholas and Alexandra, but various uncles and aunts. And they're inviting Dmitri and Maria, who are now a young man and a young woman, to do things with them. And GM and Miss June, who are used to having the children or the young adults on a daily basis with them and having a routine, are unhappy. The routine is being disrupted. They're not being invited to these things, even though Uncle Sandro's suite is being invited. So yeah, Dmitri says they feel like it's a slap in the face, and that he commiserates with them so far as it goes on this trip to Yalta that I don't remember. I know there will be trips to Yalta going forward with Dmitri and Maria and other members of the family, but I don't remember him mentioning a trip to Yalta before now. So yeah, I don't know. I guess he just didn't include that for whatever reason, except that, yeah, he's commiserating with them on that. But with today's get-together, he thinks, yeah, it would have been stupid for them to be sulking, but he's pleasantly surprised to see that Georgy Mikhailovich is actually in a good mood. So this is interesting, what he's talking about, the excavations near Ai Todor, near a lighthouse, and I should have looked all that up, but I didn't. I remember David Chavchavadze telling me that there were excavations that were done at Harax, and that Greek things that were found from I don't know if it was ancient, but Greek things were found. I think he meant ancient Greek things. I mean, coins and things like that. Although, so if this wall that was dug up that Dimitri saw, it wasn't ancient then. What would that have been then? 1400s, 1300s that it was built. So pretty cool. And Dimitri would continue to be interested in that when he had a chance trying to make his way from Persia to England with the Marlings in 1918. Whenever there was a chance to observe any archaeological sites in India or in Egypt or in present-day Iraq, he was always excited about that. So maybe going back to his childhood and having this experience, or to his youth and having this experience in the Crimea. All right, so a little bit about the weather. We've already talked about that and about the big holiday. So that is it for today. And I wonder if the pool was heated. I don't think I would swim in an outdoor pool today. But I guess he's saying that it was about 15 to 20 degrees at night and probably hotter during the day. All right, well, come back tomorrow for more of this Crimea adventure, and later today for Coco Chanel's big appearance in a diary entry of the 23rd of January, 1921. All right, I'll see you then. Bye.